welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. Now, the reason I'm happy today is because, first of all, my name is Andy Walker, and that is...
Sean Carruthers.
Are you happy and animated today? Come on, give me some energy.
I'm Sean Carruthers, and I'm happy to be here. We're going to play with stuff.
And rice. Today on the show, first of all, this is the show that demystifies technology for you and your gadgets and explains the internet and does all kinds of fun stuff. And today on the show, we're going to show you low-tech tips for high-tech problems. And that includes rice and keys and cell phones,
toothpaste, and tinfoil.
A whole bunch of other stuff. We were inspired by an article in the New York Times that said, you don't always need to spend money to fix a technology problem when it goes awry. All you do is you kind of go into your drawer and you pull out some stuff and you spit and string it and it's fixed. And today Sean and I were inspired by this list of things because we have our own favorite low-tech solutions for high-tech problems.
We're going to be like MacGyver.
We are. MacGyver tips on Lab Rats today. How exciting is that? All right.
Pretty exciting.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to show you Sean and Andy's fantastic low-tech tips for high-tech problems. Today on Lab
MacGyver.
Rats.
Oh, Lab Rats.
Yeah. This episode brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 25% off today by visiting hover.com/labrats. Yeah, technology doesn't have to be so high-tech after all, especially when it breaks. You know, these companies, right, they're out there and they make stuff and it's designed to be disposable, and stuff breaks. Or you make a mistake and you make your high-tech stuff meet your low-tech world and things go horribly wrong.
Yeah, and immediately when these things go horribly wrong, your first impulse may be to go buy a fix that's really expensive. Yeah. So it's like, I need to spend $50 on this special solution to do this cleansing trick that, you don't need to do that.
No, and it's a recession at the moment, right? You want to save, keep the money in your wallet. So today Lab Rats is going to bring you low-cost fixes for high-tech problems, starting with Mr. Sean Carruthers. Now, you have a tip and a trick around TV cables, no?
TV cables, for sure. Right. Back when high definition first came out, there was a new set of cables and connectors to go with it because the old school connectors just weren't cutting it. Apparently, you needed more video data. So they introduced this new one. There's a newer one called HDMI out now, but for the longest time, and they still have devices with this, it was called Component. And it is using these good old red, green, and blue cables, right? So that splits your video signal into 3 different connectors.
Right.
And when you went to buy this special cable here,
special cable, by the way.
Special cable. It's a special cable. It costs you a bundle because these are new high-def cables. These are special. They have red, green, and blue on them. But you know what? We've talked about this before. You don't really need that. You know what you need for that? If you've got one of these old-school ones that you used to use on your VCR, the
composite.
These are composite. Yeah. So it's got yellow, white, and red. So the yellow for video, white and red for the audio. Yeah. And you know what? Look at it. They're the same. They're exactly the same. They just have different colors.
Right.
And the wire inside is the same for the most part. Yeah. Some of these higher-end cable manufacturers may put some shielding in there, but you don't need that.
Not for short cables, anyway.
Not for short cables. Yeah. It's not really all that necessary. You won't be able to tell the difference. So you know what? All you got to do is make sure that what you do, red is going to be easy to match. I always put green to yellow because that's fairly close, and then blue to white. So just make sure it matches on both ends.
On both ends, yeah.
You know what? You've just saved yourself $20, if not more.
That's a good tip. Very good. All right. So moving on. Now I have a favorite tip. Now this comes with a health warning. So when you're in your car or your garage door opener, or you're using one of these key fobs, right? Just put this down here. So this key fob opens my door at my loft, and this key fob is wireless for my car. It opens my car door. Well, what tends to happen is that I'll be carrying stuff and I'll forget to lock my car. So now I am 100 yards down the street. And I'm like, I've got to go all the way back down to the car and then click when I'm in range. Well, if you use this tip, you won't actually have to do that. And here's what you do. See, this here is a skull, and inside is some wet, gooey stuff, right? In my case, it's actually pretty good wet, gooey stuff. but it's actually an antenna. It can act as an antenna. So if you like this, oh, come on! All you have to do is this. Place the device against your forehead or on your jaw, and you push the button. Click! And bingo, the car opens up, or the device gets triggered or whatever. So what you're doing is you're using the brain casing as an antenna. Now, a health warning, of course, Sean. I don't know if this is going to cause any kind of issues when I turn, 65.
You're shooting a bunch of radio waves straight into your skull this way. And you know what? This actually does explain a whole lot about you now.
But in a pinch, it'll do it. I wouldn't recommend you do it every day. You don't make a habit of going click, every morning, because you're probably going to grow a large tumor on your head or some awful.
Yeah, who knows? I wouldn't risk it. I really wouldn't.
All right. So that's my tip: is use your brain, use your noggin as an antenna.
I've got a lower tech solution than that.
What's that?
Lock the car on the way out.
That would be very
just
good.
Click with your finger.
I always forget, but maybe that's because I've been using my brain as an antenna.
I know. So whenever I give him a ride now, he just sort of walks out of my car without, locking the door. I don't have that on my car. My car's too old. It makes you forgetful. So.
Now, speaking of wireless, you have another wireless tip, right?
I do have another wireless tip.
It doesn't involve your brain, though.
It doesn't. Well, it could. It could prevent you from frying your brain later on down the road. But here's the thing: is you've got a wireless network in your house. You've got a router that has an antenna on it, and you've got something else, elsewhere in your house. And there's interference coming from outside sources. You maybe only want your antenna to be pointing one direction. You don't need it to go in the other direction or whatever. And if you want to shield it from interference, that can be very tough as well.
Right.
Well, there's this company called freeantennas.com. I don't know if it's a company, but it's a guy that's putting these things out. It's like build your own antennas. And he has provided templates here for you to just cut them out and build them yourself. So what you do is you take this, you cut it out.
You print this off to you from the website?
Yeah, you can print this out straight from the website, and you can print it either on cardstock or this and then paste it onto cardstock if you can't get your cardstock into the printer. And then the trick is that you put tin foil on the back of the reflector end and then assemble it all, and then you can actually loop this around your antenna. Now, just to show you that it can be done, this is actually the same thing. I actually took this, printed it out, pasted it to cardstock using a Yoo-hoo stick and a little bit of aluminum foil here. I took the aluminum foil and then just pasted it onto the back.
So which direction does it point?
Well, it's...
does the antenna go in here?
The antenna goes on this side of it right here. So you can either stick it on this way if you want to use the parabolic reflector that way, or there's little holes here that you can use as a guide. You can cut them through those things right there and then just stick the antenna right through that section, and it'll be like, whoop. It'll just, the aluminum foil around the back will redirect it.
Now, does this really work?
I got this tip actually from our friend Franklin Harris, who did Digital Underground and Technocrat, the website, and he showed this off. He says it definitely does work.
Good stuff. All right.
So there you go.
So no need to get an expensive antenna, high-gain antenna. Yeah. Just use cardboard and tinfoil.
In certain circumstances, you might need to go that route, but you know what? This costs $1.
Yeah.
Maybe, so that's a whole lot cheaper, and it'll give you something fun to do with a Yoo-hoo stick.
And that's found on what website?
That's freeantennas.com.
Very good. Okay, good. All right, so thank you. My next tip is regards laptops. So I have a new laptop here. And so, of course, I'm sitting in bed, and the idea is you want to keep the laptop off of your boy parts, or if you're a girl, your girl parts. Because you don't know if there's energy coming out of there or whatever, or it's just going to get the bedclothes really warm. Right? So you could buy one of those really expensive laptop desks, right? Which provides, cooling underneath, or simply use my book. Windows Lockdown, your XP and Vista Guide Against Hacks, Attacks, and Other Internet Mayhem. Simply just place it underneath the laptop, creating a nice little propped area. You don't have to spend $20 odd on a laptop desk, and there's lots of airflow.
How much does your book cost?
$20 odd.
I don't see the benefit here yet, except to you.
Well,
you just want to get your book next to a whole pile of people's naughty bits.
Actually, that's kind of kinky, isn't it? I don't even want to go there. But yeah, so there you go. So you can, and you don't have to use my book. You can use any book that you like. Or if you don't even have a book, you could actually order a pizza, eat the pizza, and use the pizza box. And I want to say thank you to one of our viewers
Yeah.
who suggested that you use your pizza box as a laptop desk.
That was Jack in Colorado who suggested that.
Jack in Colorado.
And
Thank you,
see
Jack.
his picture right here. He says, I'm not 100% sure I believe this, but he says that when it gets a little bit too, are you okay over there, Matt?
Yes, sorry about that.
When we need a low-tech solution for our cables over there. He says, and I'm not sure I believe him, that when it heats up with the notebook pumping heat into there, that it doesn't smell like pizza. You know, it could make you a little bit hungry if you're using the pizza box, and
Right.
it's I guess clean the pizza box out a little
That's
bit.
right. Don't
before you
leave the
use
pizza in there. Okay, good. All right, Sean. Now
All right.
we're talking about. They have a tip around personal hygiene.
A bit of personal hygiene. It's a very good idea to always brush your teeth every single day because that'll get you more dates. People won't flee from you.
Right. Good geek tip.
Yeah, I mean that is a good low-tech solution to you don't need a dating service online. You can actually just use toothpaste. Actually, you know what it is? Toothpaste is actually, we've got a disc here.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit scratchy. I'll move your,
move my
your
mice.
lunch out of the way.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit scratchy here. I'm not sure whether it's coming through okay. A bit
Wow.
reflective here. But
Is that your dog or something?
no, I just dropped it on the floor. And the floor here in the studio is a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
We don't have our cleaning lady come in as often as we probably should.
Right.
Maybe we can call yours and have her come in.
Oh well, sure. She's a nice lady.
But you know what? They want you, when you get a scratch disc, to go out and buy the solution that costs $20 or $30. It comes with a special cloth.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that in a lot of cases. All you need is toothpaste. And everyone has toothpaste, hopefully.
Yeah.
Remember what I said about your dating life. And all you gotta do is spread a little bit on here into the scratchy areas.
Can I do it?
No, you don't use your finger. You could use your finger, but what you should do is just use a little cotton ball or a swab or something and just start buffing. And it gets a little bit gooey here.
It's fun.
But what this does is the scratches, there's a polycarbonate that makes up this layer of the disc. And what it has is scratches in that layer. And what it's doing is preventing the laser of your DVD player or your CD player from going all the way through. It's bending it into a different place, so it starts not playing properly. What you're doing here is, if the scratches aren't too severe, it's just buffing the edges off of that and making it.
Oh, is there a little bit of scratchy stuff inside the toothpaste?
There's a little bit of
Grit.
grit, maybe some baking soda or some other mild abrasive on here. And just by doing this with it, you're actually buffing off the edge of the grit. So then you'll clean it off with a little bit of water, perhaps, and then hopefully it'll be good. Now, there's other ways you can do this. There's a lot of people swear by something called Brasso, which is a really hardcore cleaning solution.
It's a brass cleaner.
Right.
A silver cleaner.
Yeah, and if it's not scratches and it's just gunk on there, like you've spilled hot chocolate on there, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want to just start picking it off with your thumb because then you're going to scratch it. What you can do is use something as simple as water in some cases, or if it's really hardcore, then does that smell good?
It's minty clean discs.
Yeah, they suggest maybe just taking a little bit of vodka and using that, because that's pure alcohol. I mean, you might have that around the house, and that'll take it off. Again, use something like a cotton swab that's not going to be too abrasive.
Cool. Well, before we, let's go to break, and when we come back, I'm going to show you what happens when you drop your cell phone in your toilet. But first, a message from our sponsor. That's after this.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Hover, the easiest way to buy domain names and do more with them. Get 25% off today by visiting hover.com/labrats.
Not only is your CD clean now, it's minty fresh, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually went and cleaned this off over the break. You can still see some scratches, but it's better than it was.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
And this won't work for everything, but it's a good first free solution. Just a cotton ball and a bit of toothpaste. It might get you through that section that wasn't working before.
And get you through your date.
It might get you through your date too.
Okay, all right. Well, coming up next, Mr. Mobile is here with another tip about cell phones.
Yes.
Right? Cell phones
Yeah.
in the world and how you can better use them. And, okay, well, we're going to have to figure out how to deal with that when we come back. But first, Mr. Mobile.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman and you're watching Mr. Mobile. Today we're going to take a look at an application for the iPhone that will be very familiar if you've ever used the internet before. We're going to look at Google's search app for the phone called Google Mobile. You can get it in the App Store and it's free. Just type in Google in the search box and it'll come up. And what this actually does basically is allow you to do a search on your iPhone that will search web pages and your contacts on your local phone. And it'll give you suggestions for search terms that match what you're looking for. But one of the best parts about it is it'll do Google local search. So if you're hungry and you're standing on a street corner and you're looking for pizza, this is a great way to find all the pizza restaurants that are actually near to you right now. So install it from the App Store. Once you've got it on your phone, that's the icon that you'll see there, the little G. Tapping on the G will bring up the application. Now, if you've never done a search through it before, you'll see a little animation here that explains how to use Google Voice Search. And this is the coolest part of the application. You don't have to type your search terms in. As long as they're a fairly recognizable term, you can actually just put the phone up to your ear and say what you're looking for. When you put the phone up, you'll hear a special tone that says you can start talking, say whatever you want to say. When it's heard what it's looking for, it'll play a different tone, and then you can take the phone away and it'll go and do the search. So I'm going to do a search for pizza right now. I just put the phone up to my ear, say the word, and it'll go and do it. Pizza. Now you'll see that it's working. It's actually analyzing what I've said right now, turning that into a format that it can send up to Google servers as a search and transferring that up there. You'll see the search term appears in the box, and it has actually recognized that I said pizza, and now it's come back with some search results for me that are local to where I'm standing based on the GPS in the actual iPhone. So what we're seeing here is it's calculated a postal or zip code for where I'm standing right now, and then it's returned to me Pizza Hut as a general search result, and then a bunch of restaurants that are nearby. For all of these restaurants, it's given me a phone number and a Get Directions button. If I tap on the phone number, it will ask me if I want to call them using the phone in the iPhone. So I can, make reservations or place an order if I'm going to go and pick it up. And the Get Directions button will actually take me into the Maps application that comes with the phone. It'll put the address of the restaurant into the Where I'm Going To field, and it'll use my current location as the starting point for that, so I can very easily get directions to wherever I'm going. So that is basically the Google search application for your phone. Now, I did say it can search your contacts, and that's definitely true. You can probably get better results if you type those in rather than saying them, just because you're using people's names and it may not recognize those. Also, a caveat that's mentioned in the application, it does best with people who speak North American English without an accent. So if you've got an accent in your voice, it may not work for you in this version. You may want to wait until they've got an update for it available that deals with accented voices a little bit better. Great application, very handy to have on your phone, and it's free, so check it out in the App Store. I'm Jay Goldman, this has been Mr. Mobile. Thanks for watching. Check us out on Butterscotch.com for more episodes and more of the other great Butterscotch.com shows you love.
You are so hosed.
I know, and I do that all the time, I drop my cell phone. Like you're sitting in your pants and you sit down, you take your belt off and you sit down to do your business.
Whoa, too much information.
Bloop, or it's happened before many times.
You can admit it. You are actually sitting there making calls while you're in the stall.
Hey, I'm a busy guy. I'm a host and I'm a general manager too. I guess stay on top of it. Anyway, so what happens? What do you do when this happens?
Well, first thing you want to do, this is the gross part if it's at the toilet, is fish it out.
Fish it out. Now,
get rid of all of your dignity.
I want you to know that if it's just urine in there, urine is actually sterile.
Yeah.
So it's not actually, it doesn't have any germs in it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so first thing you need to do after that is
pull the thingy out.
Pull it apart as much as you can, get the battery out, get the SIM out if you can, and then straight
jam it
into a thing of rice.
Right. Now, the reason you want to put it in rice is because rice acts as what's called a desiccant. A desiccant is something that pulls liquid out of things. So this will actually be very effective in attracting the water out of the cell phone and into the rice itself. Now, it acts, when you have electronics, you get them sometimes there's a little package of what seems like salt sealed in there.
Yeah, silica gel. Do not eat.
Do not eat this.
I always eat it.
That explains a lot too. So ultimately, this is acting as like a low-tech version of that silica gel. So you just want to stick this in there for 24 hours or so and hope for the best. Be sure to disassemble the device as much as possible. Yeah. And by the way, while I'm thinking of it, let me show you. Let's move this out of the way for a second.
Careful, it's wet over here.
All right, thank you. If you've done this to your iPhone, then your SIM is in here in the top. So there's a little hole. Yeah. You're going to pull that out. Yeah. And your SIM card is there. So make sure that you also take that out as well. Okay.
Yeah. Can't get the battery out, unfortunately. That's one of the long-term problems with that. So, some things this may not help so well, because if it goes in there with full power on, you might short things out to a very bad and ugly extent.
It's very important to take the battery out, right?
Take the battery out as quickly as you can, if at all possible.
Right. Don't eat the rice afterwards either.
And don't eat the, yeah, it wouldn't be very tasty potentially. It tastes like a cell phone.
All right. Well, there you go. There's low-tech solutions for your high-tech problems from Lab Rats. Before we go, I think we have a couple of, hey, don't do that. My poor iPhone. I've got rice all over it now, too. We have a couple of pictures for picture time before we wrap up today, so let's get to that.
All right, so first up, we've got our viewer Ross, who is in the Canadian military.
Oh, cool.
And Matt might recognize who he's with here.
Who is that, Rat? Is it some hockey wiener?
Boo! He's not on the Bruins, so.
Right.
It's Guy Lafleur.
Oh, yeah, Guy Lafleur. He used to live down the street from me when I was a kid.
And you don't recognize him?
I don't. Haven't seen him in years.
What a bad neighbor.
Guy Lafleur.
So anyways,
Great guy.
So Ross is, we've actually seen Ross before on this. He actually flies with people to and from. He doesn't do actual fighting so far as I know, but he does fly people around, and he was actually helping get Guy Lafleur to Afghanistan to help entertain the troops.
Oh, cool.
So well done.
All right, that's excellent.
There you go. So now
Great
we've
picture.
had Guy Lafleur on Lab Rats.
Nice work.
And Ross, of course. And Matt wants to boo again. Go ahead.
Oh, come on.
Come on, the Bruins are on a winning streak. Come on, you gotta lighten up. Okay. All right, so next up we have Greg McMillan. Parts unknown, but this is a very artistic photograph of Greg.
Very nice.
Outside.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for sending that in.
So there you go.
You can send your pictures to...
Make sure that you take your battery out of your digital camera before you jam it into the rice, and then send it to us at labrats.tv. Wow.
Or better...
Feedback at labrats.tv.
Right. Don't listen to Sean.
You know, we never used that gag on the URL shortening episode. We should have.
I know, we should have. Oh, well. Send your pictures to us through that address. Send it, pictures of your mom, your cats, your dad, your sisters.
Your dead cell phone in a
Your
vat of
cell
rice.
phone in the toilet, assuming that it's...
Yeah, don't send us a picture of your cell phone in the toilet.
Okay. And we'd love to see you to visit butterscotch.com, where we have lots of content around technology, tutorials and other shows very similar to Lab Rats that will help you understand your technology better. So drop us a note at feedback at labrats.tv and let us know what your favorite tutorial is or your favorite show, which episode, why, and you could win a Butterscotch t-shirt. Well, that's it for Lab Rats. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
Thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next time.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
So Mr. Mubau's coming up, of course, with his usual installment. But, oh, geez. I'm just going to drop it in there because that's my toilet, and that's what happens all the time to me. So we're going to show you how to fix that
What are you doing with your phone near the toilet?
after this with Mr. Mubau.
Are you one of those guys that makes calls from the bathroom?
Just gotta do it again and do it the first time.
I know.